could go a little on the Steelers side, man. So, what is your takeaway from the game from the Steelers' perspective, Rod?
Uh, well, Herbie, here's the thing about the Steelers, right? And look, you said something interesting to start the segment. You said that the final score of this game was not entirely indicative of how it went, and at the same time, it was. And I can see that. And you said that happened to both sides, and you're right. Because yes, the Steelers did wake up in the second half, Herbie. It was almost like they flipped the switch and they actually started where they were able to move the ball. But in that first half, they were putrid. They couldn't do anything in the first half. The Ravens were up 21. They literally got skunked. You were 21 skunked in a in a wild card playoff game, Herbie. Like, and it begs the question, Herbie. And listen, I'm not a Pittsburgh fan, obviously. We're a friend. We got a couple of friends who are Steelers
Yeah,
fans,
it's a
right?
big fan base, so we know a bunch of
Yeah.
Steelers fans.
We know
I
some Steelers
work
fans.
with one, and oh my god, it's gonna be hilarious going to work tomorrow.
So here's the bigger question, Herbie. When it comes down to the Steelers, the Steelers have found themselves in a spot, and really the franchise, the fan base, the organization.
Talk to them.
They're in purgatory.
Talk to them.
The Steelers are in purgatory. Here, Herbie, I got something here from.
Say it louder for the people in the back because they might not understand what you're saying. Break
Purgatory! Y'all in purgatory. Y'all stuck. Limbo.
Man, talk to them. Give them the science. Break down what that means, Rod, man.
Herbie, look. A former NFL offensive lineman, Jeff Shorts, who is now an NFL analyst at Fox, I think he encapsulates what I'm trying to say perfectly. He says, I quote, "I've said for a while, I think the Steelers are in the worst spot in sports. Good enough to make the postseason, but not enough to ever win. So you just stay status quo every year because it works. Not bad enough to draft a stud quarterback, not good enough to win with a veteran cast-off." Herbie, I have a very damning statistic about Mike Tomlin, and I want to say this on the front end. I'm a Dolphin fan. In the time that Mike Tomlin has been the Steelers head coach, not including interim coaches, we've had 6 head coaches in that time span, which goes to show you the level of coach Tomlin has been. But Mike Tomlin is such a good coach, Herbie, that because the Steelers front office and their organization have not been able to replace Ben Roethlisberger, which was their best time, their best years in recent memory, Herbie, since January 15 of 2017, which has been 2,918
days.
18 days.
3,000 days since they have won a playoff game.
Yes. The Steelers have gone almost 3,000 days, Herbie. And this is a team that is consistently making it to the postseason, making postseason runs. And the reason for that, Herbie, is because, look, you have a coach that has shown you that he can develop the talent that you give him. The Steelers, rarely do they ever have bad defenses. For whatever reason, Herbie, they always have fucking receivers. They've had some good running backs in their career. But at the end of the day, since the late years of Big Ben, and since then, Herbie, they've been stuck. Because the teams are always good enough to compete, but they're never good enough to actually win. Where does that leave you guys? Where does that leave Mike Tomlin and the Steelers franchise? Right? And I'm of the and Herbie here. I got one more thing to say. I think it's time that they both just have a settlement, bro, a divorce. I think Mike Tomlin needs a change of scenery. I think the Steelers need a change in leadership. Sometimes the same old thing just ain't gonna keep working, man. Just my thoughts.
Okay.
Just my thoughts.
All right.
Man.
So
just my thoughts.
the funny thing about that is that it's not just your thoughts. That's what the people feeling. To quote Kendrick Lamar, that's what the people feeling. And we're going to have a Steelers fan on sometime this week. He's livid. The internet is livid. A lot of people are appreciative of Mike Tomlin, but they are ready for him to go. Here's the problem. I always say this. Yes, you can get rid of Mike Tomlin, but the next guy that you hire could be Cam Cameron. Like, there's no guarantee.
Never.
Like, when you fire a coach in hopes of hiring a coach, there's never been an owner that hires a coach that they think is bad. They all think they're going to be good. The Bears thought that Matt Eberflus was going to be good. They were wrong. Who's another bad coach? The Chargers thought that what's his name?
Brandon Staley.
They thought that Brandon Staley was the future of the NFL. He's from the Vic Fangio coaching tree. He was the one who was making all these defenses that was stopping the Shanahan offenses. They thought that he was the future. They thought he was a paradigm shifter. He ended up being one of the worst head coaches of all time. So it is so hard to say we need to get somebody new because the grass is always greener. But at some point, people have been let go that have done more than Mike Tomlin in this time span. Like, I get it. You won a championship, but you won a championship in 2008, dog.
Yep. Haven't been back since 2010.
I was a year removed from graduating high school when you won that Super Bowl. I'm closer to 40 than I am 30 now. I'm in my mid-30s, dog. Like, that's a long time.
Long time.
Kurt Warner was still in the NFL when you won the Super Bowl, dog. James Harrison was at his physical prime when you won a Super Bowl, dog. Like,
holy shit.
Larry Fitzgerald is in the Hall of Fame. Like, he's about to be in the Hall of Fame. Like, he's gonna be in the Hall of Fame. He's like a year away from being in the Hall of Fame. That means he's been retired 5 years.
Aaron Rodgers' first year starting was the year you won a Super Bowl. Think about that. His career is almost over. Think about that.
It's been a long time, dog. So I am not here to advocate for a black man to lose his job, obviously. But however, it's about results. You cannot go 3,000 days without winning a playoff game and not expect to have these conversations. The problem ultimately that comes with Mike Tomlin and the problem that the Steelers find themselves in right now is this one. This is the worst place you want to be in sports. You should never want to be in the goddamn middle. It doesn't serve you to be in the middle. You either be winners or you should be losers. You don't want to be in the middle because when you're in the middle, there's no way to get out of the middle. It's a box that does not have a key. Mike Tomlin is an incredible coach. He will make sure you don't. He literally will never have a losing season. And that's the problem. It sounds good. It sounds great. But when it comes down to it, there's no way to actually improve unless you are phenomenal at all the little things. You got to hit it at the park in all your draft picks. You got to kill it in the third round. You got to kill it in the second round. You got to make the decision to have the fourth all and the sight to, if you're going to take a quarterback in the first round, take Jordan Love. Don't take Kenny Pickett. Like decisions like that, if you're going to be in the middle, you can't take Kenny Pickett. You can't. You have to take Jordan Love in the back half of the first round because you're always in the back half of the first round. So I don't know how they get out of it, dog. I just know that he has a very high floor, but the ceiling is non-existent. The ceiling is, and that only gets you to the first round of the playoffs, the wild card, where you lose and put up 14 points.